Hello, my name is Mason and today I'm going to show you how to set up OBS Studio for a low-end PC. So first of all, you want to go to obsproject.com and download the latest version of OBS Studio 64-bit. So I'm going to let that download and open it. You can run the installer. You want to hit yes. And next, and then you would like to hit next. Select your install directory. I recommend to your main drive. If you have an SSD, I recommend installing it to your SSD. Otherwise, install it to your regular drive. So you want to hit install. It's going to do some installation. The default packages are fine. Then you want to hit launch OBS Studios. Now that you have OBS installed, I'm going to show you how to set up for streaming and recording. So first of all, you want to go into general, set your theme to whatever you want, your language to whatever you want, and then the rest of these can be left at default. Streaming, you want to select your service and your server. The server is going to be whatever location is closest to you. So I am closest to the Ashburn 3 server, and I'm just going to leave that at that, and then you can connect to your account. That's all self-explanatory. Now output for streaming, you want one audio track if you just have one microphone. Usually leave that at default, and for low end I would leave it at H264, or X264. That's just software encodings. And for streaming encoder settings, then set that resolution to 640 by 480. And then you want to leave your rate control at CBR, which is constant bitrate, meaning that's not going to fluctuate depending on what's going on screen. Bitrate, that just depends on how much your computer can handle. You just gotta mess with the number. I recommend if you're at a very low end computer, you leave it at 1000. If you can't, you really shouldn't go any lower than 1000. And if you're going any higher, that means your computer can start handling it. So I would bump it up in 500 increments. And then to your CPU preset, because this is just how fast your CPU is going to attempt to render. I would usually leave this right around very fast or super fast, because you're going to lose quality depending on this profile, but then the higher you go, the more it's going to utilize your CPU. So I usually leave it around very fast for lower computers. If you have to go even lower to ultra fast or super fast, do so, depending on your system. Then tune, main, or profile main, leave that at main, and then tune, leave that at 1. Then for recording, if you're just recording, then you can just pay attention to this section. You want to leave this type at standard, make sure your recording path is set correctly. Recording format, I would recommend you use the MP4 encoding format. That's just default standard. Not many sites usually use MKV, so I would recommend you leave it at MP4. Then audio track, you just want 1, and then encoder, you want to make sure it's X264 if you're using on a low-end system without a good graphics card. Then just leave it at X264, then make sure your resolution is 640 by 480. And if you need to go lower, I wouldn't recommend going any lower than 480p right now. Then screen control, CBR, I would recommend leaving this at 1000 for a low-end computer, and again, it's just like streaming, just without the network component. Use 1000, and if you can go in higher, go up in 500 increments, and if it's too much, go down in 500 increments, and go no less than 1000. Then same also, keyframe interval, you want to leave it 0 for auto, and then CPU usage preset, this is the same exact thing for streaming. So very fast for regular low-end computers, go super fast for really bad, and ultra fast for like awful. But you're also going to lose quality depending on this setting. So if you can handle it, use faster or very fast. Then profile, leave it at main, and then you should be good to go on that side. So audio, you want to make sure your sample rate is set to your microphone sample rate, which you can find out by clicking on settings, or going to your taskbar, hovering over the sound icon, hitting open sound settings, sound control panel, and close that window out in the back. Go to recording, your microphone device, and advanced. Set it to the maximum, and click OK. Then make sure this matches in OBS. The channels, you only want stereo for a regular microphone. Then desktop audio, you want to make sure it's set to your speakers. Then microphone, you want to make sure it's set to your correct microphone device. And you can tell that it's the correct microphone device because it'll bounce, the meter will bounce. See, now my meter will bounce, and if I make a noise on my computer, the desktop audio will bounce. These two settings can be left at default. Monitoring device, do not enable that because it'll just echo really bad. And these are your push to mutes. You can set those binds up later. And then here we go. This is also video. This is also important. You need to make sure that your base canvas resolution is set to your monitor's resolution, and you can find this out by going to your display settings. Then output scaled resolution, you want to make sure it is set to 640 by 480. And common SPS values, I would recommend setting this to 30. For a low-end computer and downscale filter, this is just bilinear. Just leave it at bilinear. Don't need to go any higher than that. And now, assuming you have all the settings set correctly, anything in advanced, you can just leave this at regular. You don't need to set anything in advanced. This is, the defaults are fine, and then your hotkeys, that's pretty self-explanatory. So, and then you can click apply, and then OK. And then you can set up your OBS just like you would normally. Thank you for watching.